In patch 10.23, Preseason was released. This patch came with two very big changes for Twitch. The first one was changes to his abilities, where Riot decided that AP Twitch needed to be something that is playable. He got a buff to his passive poison damage, making it scale very well with AP. He got a buff to his W, Cask, making the slow scale with AP. And he got a buff on his E to make it do even more magic damage when used. And this is the big one. All three of these changes made Twitch's kit fit the AP style better than before. Riot's goal was to add a secondary playstyle to Twitch, where he could build either AP or AD or even mixed damage. However, this patch also brought another big change for Twitch. This change was the new items, and it of course affected all champions, especially AD carries. The initial 10.23 patch was a Sunfire Aegis meta, where champions like a Mumu were let to be up to a 60% win rate with the new item. This was hotfixed, slightly reducing the tank meta, and then again it was nerfed in 10.24. However, this is the last patch of the year, as Riot are taking a Christmas break, so we are now stuck in a situation where AD carry items are nowhere near as good as any other class, and this will be the same until January. So with AP Twitch being buffed and AD carry items being much worse, players began to experiment with an AP version of Twitch. Players have been trying him in all roles, but one has started to catch on, partially due to the fun playstyle, and partially due to the unexpected nature of the champion. That role is AP Twitch support. I first noticed it in NA, with Challenger and X-Pro support Stunt testing the playstyle. From there, potentially the most famous Twitch player in the world, RatIRL, had also begun testing the playstyle. This is a roaming carry playstyle, very similar to Jungle Twitch, where you focus on stealth, to run around the map and tilt enemies for the win. I'm going to show you why it's good, and how you can play it like these Challenger players do. The reason Twitch has gravitated to the support role is due to his high damage with a very low cost build. He has a very specific playstyle if you want to win on this champion. Firstly, grab Spell Thief's Edge. As Twitch, you're mostly using auto attacks as well as your E to poke in lane and earn gold from this support item. At level 1, you take Q and look to walk up to the enemy laner, using Hail of Blades to get a few quick hits off. Against high CC enemy lanes like a Leona, you need to ensure you are positioning well and using your Q movement speed to juke in and out of range. High CC champions normally are melee, so it's very easy to get free autos off on them, but you do need to hug the wave or move away when you're at risk of getting CC locked. Do not try and all in at level 1, you're not going to be strong enough since you're just an AD carry who's auto attacking, but at level 2 you take E. This is where the AP part of Twitch starts to get quite strong. Even from level 2 you can start to look for kills. You can go into a bush, stealth, and then try to move behind the enemy bot laner, where you reveal yourself and start focusing a target. Ignite them, and after getting full stacks of your passive, use E to burst into death with your AD carry. At level 3, you can take your W, and from there, you're just continuing this playstyle in lane of poking with auto attacks to proc your Spell Thieves, and then also looking for opportunities to all in the squishy enemy. You want to take your first base with about 650 gold, as this lets you buy an early Dark Seal and boots. Even from level 4, Twitch supports should be looking to roam. Take a look at RatIRL taking his first base, and immediately walking top lane. This is a legitimate strategy and insanely effective due to the surprise factor. Think of how safe you have to play against Twitch jungle, and now imagine there's a second jungler as well who can gank you. This is the really impressive part of the strategy. Even at level 1, RatIRL starts Sweeper, so that whenever he is roaming or looking for a play, he can pop it and make sure he is out of vision, otherwise he would just be wasting his time looking for a gank. In each gank, look for a flank on the enemy with your Q, so you can cut off their escape. No top laner will ever expect a level 4 Twitch to appear behind him, as it just doesn't fit the normal meta. As a Twitch jungle player, RatIRL is very good at abusing the stubbornness of laners. For example, he ganks this guy top level 4, and you would expect him to go back to bot lane, happy with his roam. Instead, he returns to top lane, and waits for the enemy top laner to obviously walk up to the wave, as anyone would. Again, he creates an uneven lane, and starts to snowball it further out of control by getting another kill. Meanwhile, his AD carry is just farming under tower, not losing anything. Think about how tilting it would be to be the enemy top laner after this experience. This is how Twitch wins games. Just like Jungle Twitch, you need to use your busted early game damage to start to snowball the game. Twitch thrives when ahead, as with any champion who has invisibility, because they can use it to invade and keep getting picks. Even in mid or late game, RatIRL continues to use the stubbornness of laners to get advantages. If you and your team start walking away, enemies will always assume you're done and about to take a base, because that is what happens in 95% of games. So RatIRL instead walks out of vision, faking a base, and uses his Q to then re-engage. This will always surprise enemies, especially if they're already tilted. You want them to start to think, oh of course, Twitch is there. Again, why did I even walk up to the wave every single time they die? So they never feel safe, and continue to tilt them over and over again so they can't even finally get a grasp on the game. After you pull off a roam, it is important to return to bot lane and continue to get the XP, as well as to pressure the enemy tower. There are some games where Twitch can even just win lane without needing to roam, by using his E damage in 2v2s. In lanes against a squishy duo, you can still look for 2v2 kills and try to win the game that way as well. Again, use Twitch stealth to continue to snowball if you get ahead. A common strategy is showing in the lane, then using stealth to get behind the enemy tower, and wait for them to respawn and run back, killing them again before they can even get to tower. If this happens, the lane is over, and you're likely to win the game from that point, because you can get the tower, maybe get all the plates, you'd be really far ahead in gold, and then you can move to mid lane with a big tempo advantage, take that tower as well, maybe get some more kills, and then at that point the game might as well be over. Each game you need to judge, is this bot lane winnable 2v2? If the answer is yes, then you can play for the lane. If no, then think about the best lanes to gank, or even ask your jungler. As a jungler, this is what you should be thinking about at the start of every game, so that is partially why RatIRL is so good at this playstyle of roaming Twitch. Same thing for return ganks. If you get a flash from a gank, then always return to it, just like a jungler would. If your AD carry dies bot while you're roaming, it's not your fault, and your focus should only be on playing the style correctly. If you have a high mobility, high range bot laner like RatIRL, then roaming is correct, and if he dies in that lane with his E, then it is kind of his fault for dying and overextending there. But if you do have a Draven, or something immobile that's really strong in lane, you may want to instead go for more 2v2s, as that's where you'll have the biggest advantage. The final thing you need to know when playing this style is that it is not a common strategy at all. It's very unknown outside of Twitch TV. The play rate of the champion as a support is ranked 31 out of 35, lower than any real support champion. This surprise factor, like with many off-meta picks, is another part of your big advantage. Once you get level 6, your damage spikes very high. No enemy will ever expect to die to a Twitch E. This surprise only increases throughout the game. By level 11, you'll be able to 1v1 any squishy enemy, especially the AD carry, and your E will be doing half their health with one button. At this point of the game, you should be looking to get out of vision, use Q, and move into the enemy side of the map to find a pick. The further ahead you are, the more risk you can take, but even a 0-0 Twitch with one item will beat an AD carry 1v1, so try to find them farming lanes or walking too far up by themselves. Not only does your damage scale very fast, but with Twitch ult, you'll outrange most champions anyway, so you can use that to go for low risk picks, where you stealth, use ult, and then try to reach max stacks using E before they escape to finish them off. For your build, Spell Thief's Edge is great first, base at 650 gold or after fighting in lane to get Dark Seal as soon as possible, and boots for roaming. For your full boots, you want to get Berserker Greaves when possible, as they're the best damage wise. If you're behind and need to roam as soon as possible and get a kill, then you can get mobility boots instead. First item you need is Nash's Tooth. This is great for Twitch's auto attack damage and his E burst, so it's vital on Twitch. Next, grab Rabadons to buff your AP. It's always a good idea to upgrade to Magias if you're ahead and want to take the risk at this point. Worst case, it makes you a bigger target, which lets your team have an easier job. Best case, you get to 25 stacks and you will 1v9 the game. After this, Riftmaker is great on Twitch. You can replace it with Morellenomicon versus high healing teams, or even Azonia's against dive champions, where you need to burst someone and then go golden. Nash's Tooth has been nerfed in the new patch, but it doesn't affect Twitch, as most of his damage is in the E and the poison, not the auto attack damage, which is where it was nerfed. Same thing for Riftmaker, it has been nerfed slightly, but the stats are still the same, and it's mostly a nerf to the damage it gains each second you're in combat. But Twitch doesn't want to be in combat for very long anyway, he just wants to burst people, so that doesn't affect him too much either. For runes, always take this page with Hail of Blades, as you need it for the early game damage. Take Flash Ignite to help with your damage as well. Here's the skill order, maxing E first, but with a second point in Q at level 8. Then max Q second and W last. Make sure you try this playstyle out as soon as you can, before it becomes more well known. The roaming support style is not possible on any other champion in the same way Twitch can do it right away from level 1 with stealth. It is a perfect solo queue cheese pick, where you can win games mostly by tilting enemies and showing up to counter gank, making fights uneven for your team. AD Twitch will not be strong for the next month, so test this playstyle out instead. It's not as bad as stats websites make it look, it just has a very specific playstyle that takes a while to perfect, and stats websites will always show you inexperienced players trying the champion out. The best place to learn more about this playstyle is RatIRL's Twitch channel, so I'll link that below. Thanks so much for watching, like the video if you enjoyed, and subscribe if you want to stay ahead of the meta. See you next time.